All right, a couple of things about houses, okay? Remember the Pooplex? Okay, let me tell you why I hated this property. It was impossible to get people to work on it, okay? Here's what you don't realize. When I bought this house, or this duplex, okay, so this is the street, right? Again, just ignorance. I could buy a small house for $40,000, or I could buy a big house. Yes! Do you know, when I had to get the gutters done, I got like 4 or 5 quotes and none of them showed up. It took me 3 months to get someone to replace my gutters. This back, the city gave us a violation because they didn't like paint peeling or some nonsense. So I had to get that painted. You can't find people that have a ladder that big. And then you end up with scaffolding and all this stuff, right? You don't think of that stuff. You just don't. You just think bigger house better. I hate these things now, right? This alleyway here behind, right? It's over here. You don't see it. What people do is they drive through the alleyway and then they throw trash in the back, right? All the time. And the city said, well, you own the land. It's your trash. I'm like, I'm not the one throwing it. They're like, we don't care. So I hate it, right? It's my favorite. Favorite property for that type of thing, right? Shoebox with a roof. It's easy. It's quick, right? Doesn't cost a lot to fix. Tends to be smaller. You know, what do you think happens if you have a leak on the top floor of your property? What happens on the next floor down? You get another leak, right? Potentially, right? And another one. It's all additional cost which you don't think about. You just think I can get more. More is not always more. So just keep that in the back of your mind. These are just my opinions, okay? I believe these apply in the Springs as well as in other locations because really it's about what applies to people. It's just my opinion. Okay, you can disagree, but you'll be wrong. Single story, preferably without basement or crawl space. I know tenants love basements. If I can buy without a basement, I prefer. Oftentimes you can't, it's just life, right? Especially stuff that was built kind of probably pre-60s, 70s, I don't know, it depends on, sometimes you find the slab earlier than that, but oftentimes kind of 50s and 60s they've kind of figured out how to build on a slab. But then you get new houses that have basements, right? I got a basement in my current house. Freaked me out when the sump pump went on, by the way, because I'd never had a sump pump in the house. It's just, what is going on? And it went off like 30 times in a day. It's freaky. But single story, again, for that reason. If it's a ranch house, guess what? There's no stairs. It widens your appeal, right? Parents like it because kids don't come hurtling down. Old people like it because they don't have to walk upstairs. Like it works for more people, right? 1,000 to 1,200 square feet. I like that size. It's cheap to turn and it suits most people. Of course, you might find a 2,000 square foot home. It's a lot of square footage to repair on a rental. It's just reality, okay, if you're looking for a rental. So these are just my guidelines. I'm sure there'll be someone here that bought a 3,000 square foot home and rented it for 20 years to some grandma and it worked great and loved it. I can tell you, having bought like dozens and dozens and dozens of homes, this works. Take it or not. 3 bed, 2 bath. Most of the houses that we've bought have been 1 bath, which are fine because of the neighborhoods that we buy in. But here's the key. So listen, this is one of those, write this down. People outgrow bathrooms before they outgrow bedrooms. Okay? What do I mean by that? People don't use bedrooms really for anything other than sleeping. But you know what happens when you've got a family of 2, 3, 4 people trying to all shower at the same time? It gets old pretty quick, right? And so what you'll find is, you know, other than obviously tenant damage, what you don't want is people turning. In other words, leaving your property and having to get another tenant in. Cost you money obviously with the real estate agent, cost you money with any repairs, because if a tenant makes a mess or whatever, they'll live with it, but the new person coming in says, I don't want to live in that. So you've got to replace carpet and so on, right? So because of that, you want your tenants to stay as long as possible and have that consistency. Well, if you've got a 3-bedroom home, I'll give you an example. Let's use a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. Typically that'll be oftentimes like a single mum with a kid or 2, or it might be a young family with like a little baby, right? Which is fine. But what happens in 12 months' time when Junior wants to run around? There's no space. They get sick of it, right? What happens when, the teenage girls grow up, with the mum, like say the single mum and 2 girls that are maybe 8 and 9, and then in a year or 2, those girls grow up, they both want to use the bathroom at the same time. They're fighting, pulling each other's hair. Mum's sick of it. She wants to move to something bigger, right? And that same scale kind of holds. So you want to be at a minimum kind of a 3-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 1.5 bath at least, so someone can do their hair in the mirror. I prefer when I can. The problem you're going to have is once you kind of get before I'm reluctant to put a thing on it because every state is different, neighborhood is different. But basically, a lot of stuff kind of pre-70s and 80s are going to be one bath because people just went to the one bath. We've become a little bit more, I don't know, pampered maybe. So does that make sense? But those are the reasons behind it. Do I still buy 3-bed, 1 bath? Absolutely. If it's a good deal and it works, of course. But I'm just saying, just be aware of it if you've got the option. Right? That's the reason behind it, is because people outgrow bathrooms before bedrooms. And so I'd rather, put it this way, I would prefer to take a 2-bedroom, 2-bath over a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Yeah. All things being equal, because people can stay in there longer. Okay? It's just how it is.